women into like one box
Very true.
and then say, this is what dating is like nowadays. Because it really depends on your religion. It depends where you're from.
So what's it like for you then?
So for me, as a Polish person.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you. I say that all the time, but this one, I promise it really actually is. We've had a little bit of a discussion before. And we're here to, talk about dating, find the tools so you can use that to find the kind of person you want. Guy, girl, whatever floats your boat. So without further ado, please welcome Victoria to the show. Victoria, how are we?
Hey, I'm good.
You all right? Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling being here? You've seen the couch, but now you're actually here.
Yeah, I've seen the couch. I'm actually here now, and yeah, it's good to kind of see it in person. So
Is the couch as good as it looks on screen?
it's very comfortable.
Yes, made it, guys. I have to make sure the guests are comfortable. Listen, we're gonna jump right in. Okay. So, how would you describe dating for women today?
Terrible.
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 It's a very harsh word. Why would you say terrible?
I mean, it really depends because you've got people from like different. It depends on the culture. It depends who you are. It depends. You can't really put all women into like one box.
Very true.
And then say, this is what dating is like nowadays. Because it really depends on your religion. It depends where you're from.
So what's it like for you then?
So for me, as a Polish person, obviously, we kind of view dating in a different way in Poland, for example. Do you see what I mean? So for me, I technically, when I get into a relationship in Poland, it always is with the initiative where you end up marrying that person.
Sure.
Do you see what I mean? So it's not always like that in the UK because you've got a lot of people who kind of get into a relationship. It's an open relationship and they just technically just want to be together, see what happens. Whereas we do that in Poland as well, but it's kind of more traditional still.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I've had experiences, okay? So, yeah, I've had experiences.
We'll get into those.
Okay. I mean, without giving out details, it has not been good.
Are you saying in comparison to the way it was in Poland?
So I haven't actually dated much in Poland, you see, because I came here when I was 14, so that was about 10 years ago. Yeah. So I, and that's actually weird because when you go to high school in the UK, you see a massive difference between how people are acting versus in Poland. So I mean,
So what's the difference?
so the difference is technically, I'm not going to talk about Poland just yet. I'm going to focus on like high schools in the UK.
Okay.
So you walk in as technically a nice teenage virgin,
Yeah.
okay? And you see girls not wearing backpacks. They're wearing just like regular bags, okay? And everything is like kind of overly sexualized in a subtle way.
100%.
Do you see what I mean? So, and you kind of sit in a lesson instead of kind of listening. You look around and you see girls putting makeup on and you see 16-year-olds walking around pregnant. So that was like a massive shock to me. Do you see what I mean? And yeah, that kind of gave me an idea of what
The landscape is here.
exactly. You see what I mean?
Were you kind of like, oh, wow, like, I have so much more freedom to choose? Or do you kind of feel like, it's become degenerate?
I mean, you know what? Okay, so you've got the freedom and then you can kind of express yourself better. Because if you try to do anything like that in Poland, you get criticized straight away.
Like what?
So for example, if you want to openly date guys and kind of make it really obvious, obviously we do get into relationships as teenagers in Poland as well. But the thing is, it's so, I can't find a word. It's just so intense.
In Poland or here?
Here.
What's intense? What do you mean?
Because it's just so open and so, what's the word?
Do you feel like it's more fast-paced?
It's fast-paced and
Because
it's
like,
so
there's quick turnover.
available, like the availability of, getting into a relationship and kind of exploring that topic.
Yeah.
There's no veil over it. Do you see what I mean?
So do you think having a more traditional way of dating, a more traditional society which encourages that way of dating, do you think that's better than what it is?
I think he makes things more safe. I think he makes things more in control. Okay, so yeah, once you date, when you're in Poland, for example, they want, like, the parents, for example, they won't let you put your makeup on when you're 14, go outside, date the guys, and go God knows where.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
And you think that's good?
I think that's good because you don't end up pregnant when you're 16. Do you understand? Exactly. So that's the only thing that I think is good. So the dating scene, let's get away from high school. Obviously, massive difference. Do you see what I mean? So because I was dropped into the ocean, high school in the UK, I kind of had to slowly adapt. Even though,
how did you adapt?
why? It's what I'd like.
You dyed your hair.
Yes, because I'm a redhead, but like redhead. Yeah.
You
that's
seem
it.
actually blonde.
No, I'm not. Oh, this is a lie. My brain is still working.
Well, there's so many lies out here, guys. So many.
Yeah. So I slowly had to adapt and learning English as well. You know.
Yeah, of course.
All my days, that was difficult.
So how would you say you adapted in terms of how you dated? Like, how would you say?
Well, that's my point. That's what I'm trying to get to. So you see, with English, for example, I'm a good listener. Like, I can actually, pick up different accents as well. So when I'm up north, speak Yorkshire. If I'm down here, kind of mix it with American and Australian for some reason. I don't know why. But still, so you see, this in dating also played a role because you have a lot of guys kind of coming up to you, trying to hit on you, and you know how it is when you're younger. It's kind of like.
Did you find that then more guys did that here than back home in Poland?
Definitely, and there's a difference because back at home, they will hit on you, but you kind of they're much more shy than the guys in the UK. Especially when they're not British, they're also some sort of other ethnicity. See what I mean? They're really confident. They're really just into it.
Yeah. I guess to be fair, that's the case with any major city, like London, Manchester. Whereas I feel if you're probably more, because you said that you've been in Colchester recently, and do you feel like it's the same there, the same abruptness, or?
I haven't been there long enough to tell, but I think it is the same. When it comes to, because I go to Leeds often, let's say, and London, Leeds, Manchester, all places.
I see. So I want to talk about how you've adapted to dating here. What did you do before that?
Yeah.
Or what do you do now that maybe you didn't do before to help adapt to the environment that you're in?
I've got a specific personality.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like confidence helped a lot. So developing confidence, which I would have had in Poland anyway, I think kind of developing that throughout the years and getting into... Actually, guys helped me out.
How did they help you out?
So every single relationship was like an upgrade. Okay? For some reason, because I was able to learn these things from my friends, for example, and when you go out and you kind of meet up and stuff, I was such an introvert that I just didn't feel like doing it. I was the type of person to lock myself in the room when I was 16 and learn quantum mechanics and stuff. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah,
that's not bad though. I think we need more of them kind of people.
Well, it is what it is. But so what I've done, this is one part of me, and then there's the other part of me which had to kind of expand.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So the confidence and how I approach relationships and stuff. So every time I would get into a relationship, it was always some sort of Royal Marine or a doctor or somebody. So because they work in a professional setting like that, I had an insight to what's going on in the world, and then they would show me a little bit of the world. So it was always a guy from a different culture, for example. Do you see what I mean? So it's normally, and I don't want to get into details, but it's always somebody from a different ethnicity.
Why do you find that you've been drawn to that?
It's just personal preference, technically. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
Plus, I'm really interested in cultures. I'm very focused on people. I'm very focused on the psychology of people, the personalities, how the energies, and how people react to different things. And You see what I mean? So because I'm such an explorer and an analyst, I was really, really just attracted to that. See what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, so every single one of them was kind of like an upgrade, and every single one of them, as they would take me out of this little town, I actually lived in Harrogate up north, little posh town. As they would take me out, I would learn more and more, then kind of adapt my confidence to the outside world. So I actually say, thank you guys, but
So there isn't terrible here, but actually it sounds like you've had a pretty good.
I mean, I've had a good time. So I'm not saying that it was completely terrible, because I learned a lot and I had fun and everything. But then when it comes to like the love aspect, that's
So let's get into that. What do you think? What's the part that you think is not great about it right now?
commitment issues.
Commitment issues. Are you saying, is that from the women or the men or both?
In my personal, like, from my personal point of view, that's men.
Yeah. So you feel like men don't want to commit?
That's it, yeah. But I think, to be honest, I can't talk about age gap, because I could say, okay, it depends on the age gap. Do you see what I mean? So men kind of mature later than women. So we're kind of like,
I think, okay, yeah. I think if we're talking, they get to the stage that they want to settle down happens later. That is true for men, generally.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
true.
exactly. So I think because they're not there with their mindset just yet, and then women are kind of mentally ready, it doesn't connect. And there was one guy, I met the guy at the gym, and he kind of started hitting on me and stuff. We went for a drink, and then he kind of said, okay, do you know about this? Can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like a scale that goes, so the most attractive age for a woman is from 24 to 25, and then for a man it's kind of really low, then it goes to 34, and then it stays high, whereas for a woman it's low, it goes up all the time, stays at 25,
Yeah.
and it kind of slowly goes down. You see what I mean? So
Yeah, so it's like, and we've talked about this before, like men and women they hit their peak of desirability to the other sex at different seasons in their life. For women, it tends to be when they're younger. Guys, it tends to be when they're more older, more established. So, and that's, you see that correlation. That's why a lot of the time, if there's an age gap, more often than not, the guy's older than the girl. Or girls go for older guys, yeah.
yeah, true, yeah. So let's go back into the topic. So with the commitment issues, it was definitely because of the age. Because when I was dating these people, they were kind of young. Let's say the oldest was 27.
Yeah.
Just what I mean. And I was still growing up, so I'm 24 now. So you can imagine kind of the age gaps that I was always choosing the older guys.
Yeah.
And that's also for the reason that Jordan Peterson was actually talking about this. So he was saying that I don't know if that's completely true, but it makes perfect sense to me. So he was saying that a man who has got an IQ of 140 something,
Yes.
will look for a woman who's, at 80 points or 100 points. He doesn't mind
a
smart woman, because he's in a business, he's doing everything himself.
Yeah.
He just needs somebody to just, like, I don't know, maybe be at home and just somebody to love, and he doesn't need her to be smart. Whereas a woman who's got an IQ over 140 will always look for a man with the same or higher.
Very true.
Yeah.
And I say that goes for like economic standing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Women like to choose across and up.
Yeah. So for me, it's really difficult. And
You got IQ 140?
146.
Do you?
Yeah. So.
I see. So you feel like most guys you date are just not on your intelligence level?
Well, okay. So what is intelligence? What is intelligence? How can you define it? So, there's different things that come into intelligence, because you don't have to be just book smart.
Yeah, there's different kinds of smarts.
I mean? So that's the thing, because I dated book smart people, and that wasn't enough.
What wasn't enough about them?
Because, okay, so once you have a guy who is book smart, and, all respect from my side, that's really good. He's doing well at his job, he's making money, he's, out there, he's pursuing wherever he wants to do in life, okay? He's got goals and everything. That's real good. But what's not enough is that kind of, I call it street knowledge.
I get that. I understand that. I do understand that. You're not going to find everything in one person, though.
That's true. That is true.
Like, I don't think you can be like, oh, I want a guy who's very posh, sophisticated, but at the same time, he can handle a drug dealer. Like, that doesn't exist.
It's not about handling, drugs and guns. And
No,
that.
I'm using the extremes.
But I know you're kind of exaggerating what I actually want to say.
Sure.
Which is great, but street knowledge, kind of wisdom kind of comes from life experiences.
I agree. That's true.
Often very bad life experiences. And you can tell by a person. The minute you sit down with them, you look at them and kind of speak to them, you can tell sometimes, well, if somebody's really like reserved, then obviously you can't.
Yes.
But you can kind of tell that the guy, he might be book smart, he might have graduated with something amazing, but then you know that he's been through certain things in life, so you know that when it comes to a difficult situation, you don't have to be a man at that point. He's going to take care of it.
Oh, as a woman, you'd have to step up.
That's it. Exactly. And I've been in many situations where, because I've got that street knowledge and, okay, let's just leave it at that. And I am dating somebody who kind of lacks in these areas.
So what would you, just to challenge you on that,
okay,
right? Because I completely understand what you're saying, completely fair. If you had to choose between a guy who is intelligent, smart, got his shit together, but he's not street smart, or somebody who's very streetwise, but maybe they don't actually have their shit together, they don't have their own place, they don't have, maybe they're going job to job. If you had to choose one or the other, which one would you choose?
See, and this question was actually asked by one of my ex-boyfriends. Okay.
Interesting.
And he said to me, so if I couldn't drive, if I didn't have what I have, if I didn't have the money, if I didn't have all of that, let's say I was working at Tesco's.
Yeah.
Would you date me? Would you still date me?
What'd you say?
And I said, it depends on your ambition. And I said, but hold on a second, because okay, so I said to him, and I explained that to him, and then after 2 times of me explaining it, he actually got it. So
ambition, all that means is future success, though.
Future success. But the thing is, if you don't already have what it takes, already in your character, you're not thinking about the future, then you just don't have it. But if you do, I can tell. Do you see what I mean?
I agree. I think what you're saying, though, is that he said, oh, his job, the money, all of that, would you still want him? If he didn't have it, for you, you're like, okay, you either have it now or you can get it later. But the point is, he has to have it at some point. Like, he has to have it together at some point.
If I do, then I expect the same.
Of course. So basically, the answer is no, you wouldn't be with it.
The answer is, okay, so if I knew him the same way, that's the thing. Like, if I knew him, if I knew his character, if I knew him as a person, and for some damn reason, he's just working at Tesco's because something happened in his life, or wherever, he's just struggling, okay? But you know that he's him, exactly the same person that I'm talking to. See what I mean? I know for sure that he's not going to stay at that job for long because I know what he's trying to do. See what I mean? Yes, I would be with him. See what I mean?
If you had a mission.
If you had a mission. That's it. It's all about ambition.
Yeah, I get that. What's something you'd like to bring to the table?
Or something that I like to bring to.
Yeah, or something you want to ask. Something you want us to discuss. Because I know you had a few things.
Well, okay, so I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about was kind of like toxic masculinity.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, what about it?
And kind of so men and women. So obviously on the dating market, I'm kind of, they're kind of seeing what's happening. But coaches don't play. So I could secretly.
What do you mean they don't play?
Coaches don't play. That's it. So yeah, I'm really somewhere else with my mindset to like kind of date at the moment.
Okay, so you're not really open to dating right now because of the way the landscape is.
Yeah, I tend to, whenever I kind of meet a guy, I tend to be the coach. I tend to kind of give advice. Like, it kind of always ends up in that conversation You know,
When you
instead
say
of,
coaching in life for him or what?
I mean, sometimes either, and that's really weird. Do you see what I mean?
Do you not? Do you not? Why can you not do that for a guy that you're interested in?
See, because I'm not a teacher, and I always say that. Listen, I'm not going to be a teacher. I don't want all of that. I don't want to be the man here. I don't want to be teaching you how to. I'm sorry, get your shit. Technically, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have a guy that I can learn from.
So I understand that. So basically, you want him to be the teacher. I understand.
If you, as a man, know more than I already do, and you can teach me, and you can show me things, and I can learn some skills.
And you feel like, well, the thing is, you kind of said from your experiences that, you know, you said you dated a Marine, a doctor, and like you felt you've had an upgrade. So have you not already been getting those kind of guys already? And if so, like, why are you not with one of them now?
Because, okay, so obviously, if the relationship ended, then obviously there was some sort of issue, right? So, okay, so let's say with the doctor.
Yeah.
There was an issue of the street knowledge. So what I mean. So again, I have to step up and be the teacher. So let's say he would do really good when it comes to technology and stuff because that's his mindset. That's what he likes. He loved Japan. He loved Japan and like all of the technology, all of that stuff. Okay, which is really cool, but that's not my type of thing. But I like the differences that different people are into different things, and I respect that. And I love when a guy has got some sort of passion. Just what I mean. So I really love that. But at the same time, if we're in a difficult situation, we're in the middle of woods, for example, because we went on a trip and he doesn't even know how to, navigate or just anything, acting like a complete child. And then we're actually like desperate to get some sort of help or some sort of, I don't know, place to like sit down or wherever, like I just can't have that situation happen.
I understand.
Yeah.
What I would say though is that do you not think that I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing a partner where you both learn from each other in different areas of your life. So like, for example, so let's say, take the dots, for example, let's say you could learn a lot from him in terms of like society, like getting your shit together or, stuff like that, because he's well established in himself and his position, all of that. But if you're more street smart, then why is it a problem for him to learn from you if you already know? Because you said you already know, right?
Yeah, but that's okay. And if he doesn't want to do that, why would I force somebody?
Not forced, but I guess it's kind of like, there's nothing wrong if you're in that situation where, okay, the person who's more street smart probably should make the call. Why would it be wrong for you to kind of take point in those situations when you know that's where he's not got his strengths?
Okay, so I tried that as well. But again, that's me being a teacher and I really don't want to be in that situation. I don't know, like I want to be able to feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. How many, so the kind of guy that you want, out of 100 men, how many men do you think fit that criteria?
Actually, and you know what, let me bring something up because I actually written it down that
Yeah,
I
go
wanted
for
to
it.
bring out. So there's a woman, her name is probably Bella Swan or something like that. I don't know if it's Bella, if it's something Swan. Okay, so she's kind of into like energies and people and stuff. But it's I don't really watch a lot of her stuff, but she's doing kind of like YouTube shorts and stuff, right? And she was talking about this one thing when it comes to dating. She said that she asked a guy this psychological thing where you answer 3 questions. Okay, so first you ask him his favorite color, but that has a different.
Teal. Oh, they're not doing it to me.
Okay, what's your favorite color? Yeah, no, let's do it. What's your favorite color?
Teal.
Okay. Your favorite animal?
A horse.
A horse. Why?
I think they're powerful, majestic, but also calming.
Okay, and white teal as well. In fact, her name is Teal Swan.
Her name's Teal Swan.
That's it.
You're welcome, girl. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's it. Thank you. Okay, so why teal?
It's a good question. I love the color. I think I don't know why I love the color. It's like a blue and a green, but not really either.
So just take that sentence. I don't know why I love the color.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have the horse because again,
majestic, powerful,
but common.
calming.
Common. Okay.
Yes.
And then if you could be any sort of character, like fictional or real character. It could be anything. What would you be?
Black Panther.
Okay.
Can I choose?
I mean, as in the guy, as in the animal.
Oh, any kind of oh no, the hero.
Okay, the hero. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so
Protector of his kingdom.
So the color, what it actually stands for is you, as you, like who you are.
Okay.
Okay. Then what's funny is that the favorite animal, you would think, oh, okay, this is me. It's not. But the favorite animal kind of stands for is your future partner, like your ideal kind of spouse type of thing.
Interesting.
And then you have got the character, which is technically what people see you as subconsciously.
People see with that Panther. Yes. Winning.
Okay, so she said that she went on a date. She asked the guy the questions. And the minute they got to the favorite animal, the guy says butterfly. Because it's only there for a minute and then he kind of flies away. She left the room.
She left the room because his favorite animal was a butterfly.
But do you see the connotation of it?
I think if he knew why she was asking the question, he would have said something different.
Obviously, but it's not you're not supposed to know.
Okay, so we're going to do it with you. What's your favorite color?
Royal blue.
Royal blue. Not just blue, royal blue. Why royal blue?
Why royal blue? Because it's very deep. It's very it kind of like, when I look at the color, it snatches the soul completely. So for a lot of people, it's just the blue. For people who actually are drawn to it, it's something really, really kind of, in a sense, even mystic or just very valuable, very deep.
Okay. So it sounds like depth for royal blue. Okay. Favorite animal?
See, I would say dragon.
But you know why you're answering a favorite animal. Like, you're like, oh, this is the partner, which is what I'm looking for, guys. I want a freaking dragon.
Yeah, it is a
Why
dragon.
dragon?
And
Why?
people say they don't exist. That's the thing.
Why? Well, you have Komodo dragons.
But yeah. So
Komodo dragon.
Dragons. Why? Because first of all, they're massive. Okay. Second of all, they're kind of like, again, the royal animals. So when you look at the stories and stuff, they usually like around like the castles and stuff, and like, you know, protecting certain stuff like the gold. And you know, you really do need to have a lot of training, a lot of knowledge to be able to deal with them.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. What's the third? Oh, what character do you identify with?
That one, I would say, the Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a little Harley Quinn thing going on. You could really have this Harley Quinn thing going on.
Yeah.
Why the Joker?
I think she's too crazy, whereas the Joker is a little bit more, I don't know, he's just like a nice asshole in a
I kills people.
I guess I'm just guessing. But this is what I would choose. So
Okay.
You know, subconsciously, maybe, perhaps this is it.
Okay. Give me a dating situation where you were like confused as to what happened. Like, you're like, I don't understand why. Like, from a guy, like, why did he do this? Like, maybe with a situation before.
I don't, because I'm an analyst, I kind of always...
You feel like you always know?
Yeah, like, not that I know exactly what happened, but after consideration of, like, the facts that I gather.
Yes.
Okay, I see, I understand. Because when I look at a guy, when I kind of deal with a guy, I kind of look at everything. So, where was he raised? By who? In what way? So, certain things that he does, certain behavior, you know, will always come back to his childhood, to his past experiences, do you see what I mean?
Yes, but
So a lot of women don't actually consider that, and they're like, oh, why is he a player? Why is he a cheater? Why is it all that? You can kind of tell the behavior of a guy by the way for example, his father is behaving.
I completely agree. I agree. Let's talk about players. Why do you think most guys are players? Like, the guys who are players, which we know many guys can't be. Most guys can't be. Why do you think players play?
Is the question why do men cheat?
Oh, in that kind of player? Oh, you want to ask why do men cheat? Or you meant like guys who just date multiple women all the time?
It's literally the same thing.
Is it the same
simple,
thing?
yes, because the simple answer to it is that men like variety.
Yeah, but I think someone choosing to cheat and someone to just be dating multiple people at the same time, I don't think that's the same thing.
I guess so. Yeah. Why are men? Why are men players?
Why do you think they're players? You said you're an analyst, so from your experience and what you've analysed, why do you think guys just...
Well, I don't really deal with players because I can just tell. You kind of, for some reason, you can just tell the way they carry themselves. You see, like, don't judge the book by its cover. So you never judge a person by the way they dress. You never judge a person by kind of, I don't know, the way they look, where they're from, where kind of, background, religion, wherever. But you can actually get a hint of what they're like by the way they project their energy into the world. You can't tell.
So what are some like telltale signs you feel to tell for guys a bit of a...
I think a lot of guys who are actually really good looking take advantage.
You don't think good looking girls take advantage?
Yeah, of course.
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
yeah.
you feel like guys do? Yeah, that's
guys
true.
do as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
If you're good looking, you can get, a lot of girls, then why wouldn't you? Do you see what I mean?
So basically, telltale sign of a player, he's very attractive.
I mean, yeah. Are there ugly players?
You tell me.
I don't
Yeah,
think-
they probably have a lot. They're probably very successful if they're...
that could be it, actually. Yeah, if you've got loads of money, then you can get the girls.
So you don't want to date an attractive guy or a guy who has money?
Oh no, because not every attractive guy is a player.
So how do you differentiate between an attractive guy who is and who isn't?
As I said, it really depends on what he does, how he behaves, how he carries himself, how he kind of presents himself in the world. The way he walks even can tell you, the way he speaks, the way he articulates what he wants to say, how he kind of conveys what he's all about. Do you see what I mean? So let's say you could have twins, right? In the street, one of them is a player, the other one isn't.
Yeah.
Okay. The player one, complete and utter BS in his head, okay, and all he wants is kind of girls, and he knows he can get it, and he's not really his mindset is not really set on anything important, anything crucial in the world, or just he doesn't know what he's doing.
Maybe not a relationship.
Yeah. And well, I'm not saying that every single player is just he doesn't know what to do with himself in the world. Obviously, that's not the case. But let's say in a relationship, he doesn't have that mindset. But also, the guy who's not a player doesn't necessarily have to be focused on getting into a long-term relationship or marriage.
Very true.
But the way he treats women is completely different.
Yeah. Can be. I think a guy can be dating multiple women, but there's one that he's taking more seriously. So to her, she's getting a side of him that maybe the other girls he's not taking seriously don't get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like if a guy's not taking a girl seriously, then she's not gonna get his real investment, like his emotional time, him planning dates for her, whatever. He might do it, but he probably won't, right? Because if he's not taking it seriously. But the girl that he is, she's gonna get that side to him. So I think what you even see from a guy, what you get from a guy may not even be, it's a reflection of him as a character, but it may even be more of a reflection of his intention with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true. Because just because he's not interested in you, just because he's not giving you what you want from him, doesn't mean that he's actually a player.
100%.
So, I had that actually. So I was with a guy, and I couldn't understand why is he so into me, okay, and everything is fine, but then he would turn his head for other girls.
You mean when you're out in public?
Yeah. So I realized quickly that I just wasn't his type. Okay, so it was nothing to do with me. Yes, so physically you need to kind of choose a girl that's exactly your type, because then you will have issues.
Well, I think the thing is, like, guys, just because you're in a relationship, you could be really into someone, but that doesn't mean you don't find anyone else attractive.
No, that's true. You can be okay. So I could be in a relationship with, I don't know, Tom Shelby, for example, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I wouldn't find other guys attractive. So
That
I
might
can
turn your
admire,
head.
yeah. So I can admire the, the beauty and beauty of kind of other cultures and stuff, and other guys technically. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I've realized is that obviously that would happen with him as well. He was a very attractive guy. I, even though there were loads of men on the street who looked really good or even better than him, because I'm so invested into the relationship and because I'm so invested into him and I'm all about him and his personality and everything that he's all about,
Yeah.
the value of a man instantly dropped.
Yes. But I think this is a generalization, but I do think it's true. That's the difference between men and women. Because I think when a woman is emotionally and physically invested in one guy, she tends to close herself off from other guys, right?
That's
She's not
true,
really
yeah.
open to it, right?
Yeah.
Because like the average woman doesn't want to be sleeping with multiple guys. Some girls do, but the average woman doesn't. Whereas a guy can be really into a girl. You have his real investment, right? He's spending time with you, introduced to his friends, all of that. But he'll have sex with a random hot girl. Do you know what I mean? So I think that the whole thing of a guy turning his head, one, obviously while he's with you, he shouldn't do that. Just kind of be respectful. You can find other people attractive, but you don't have to look, right? I think that's a major difference between men and women, because I think that's especially why it happens a lot where women will be dating a guy over a certain period of time. She's naturally got narrow vision, but he's still having sex with other girls, and she's like, why the hell is he still open to sleeping with someone else? Like, but I think that's just because men and women, I think sex is different for men and women. I think it reflects in.
Yeah, because I always say that men see sex as if you're eating your favorite burger. Okay. Whereas women,
Can be, yeah.
Women kind of see sexual interaction. Every interaction is a transaction. So you kind of translate your emotions, like once you have sex with somebody, even though you kind of vibe with them on like a homey level or wherever, once you have sex with them, you kind of have that need for safety and comfort and like all of that kind of, these things kind of click in you. And
so on that kind of, because you understand that, and you don't have to share this, but I'm going to ask you, have you kind of adapted to the dating environment here? Have you ever had a friends with benefits, or have you had like casual flings, or has every time you've been involved with the guy, it was like, I'm moving in a way that this will probably go to marriage?
So every time, okay, so when it comes to kind of sleeping with a guy, and I would never. I got asked a lot of times to kind of just have a one night stand or wherever, but I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And even if
what about like a casual sexual partner?
Well, no, because I've got my own system of principles and beliefs. So it's a matter of respect as well. A lot of girls here don't think that it's something wrong. You can just have fun for one night or wherever. But to me, especially, they do that everywhere in the world. I'm not saying that, Poland is so saint and stuff, right? People do that as well. Yeah. But the thing is, the morals are a little bit on a higher level there. Do you see what I mean? Like, you don't.
So do you think how a girl is sexually, do you think that affects maybe how guys would respect her?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think so. It depends on the guy as well, because you can have a man who just understands this and understands the needs of the woman and himself. But once you understand it, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, we just had sex. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you think nothing of it. You don't think that she's easy or she's a whore or wherever.
Yeah, of course.
You kind of just understand the fact that, okay, well, it's a human need to do that. But then you will have guys who will literally belittle the woman afterwards.
Yeah.
Or talk to male friends. And, so because I know of situations like that, you really need to be careful who you're choosing for that sort of interaction.
Yes. I agree.
That's it.
Let's talk about these. Let's play a little game.
It's okay.
Why didn't you name 3 things you think guys need from a woman in terms of relationship, and I'll say 3 things I think women need in a relationship, and we can see if they match.
I would say nourishment.
What does that look like?
That sort of femininity, feminine energy, because it's kind of like magnets,
Yes.
masculine attracts feminine, and so on and so forth. And nourishment in the sense where, well, not all men, but men, I would say in general, like let's say a typical man, when he kind of lives on his own with his friends, there's no kind of structure to how he's living. I'm not talking about, as I do know people who are really OCD and stuff, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, some friends of mine. But just taking care of little things, you see what I mean? So men kind of need somebody to multiply what they're providing.
I like that. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that for sure. Cool. Nourishment, I agree. Another one?
Let's talk about multiplying, I guess.
Talk about multiplying. Okay,
Because
so
I think that's one of the most important things here. Do you see what I mean? Like wherever you bring a woman, she's going to expand that. She's going to.
so how would you say, you as a woman, what would a guy bring to you that you're going to help multiply for him and for the relationship?
Okay, so literally anything you bring to the woman, she's going to multiply it.
Like, give me an example.
You bring her groceries, she's going to make it dinner. You give her a house, she's going to make it home. You give her sperm, she's going to bring you a baby. You give her stress.
She's what, going to give you stress?
Give you a headache.
Well, some people, I think that's fair. I think that's kind of that could be reciprocal though, because if somebody gives you, like, if somebody approaches a conversation with you with hostility, you're going to naturally react defensively, right? Like, you could be a beautiful person and stuff, but obviously when it comes to what someone gives you, you're going to respond, or you're going to react to what they give you. I hear that. Obviously you don't want to give your partner stress, but would you say it's the other way around? If she gives him stress, is he going to...
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah. I think if she gives him stress, I think he just clocks out, to be honest. I don't think he...
Yeah, a lot of guys do, but there's a lot of guys who actually do like to argue for some reason, just keep on going. So it's just toxicity.
Yeah, okay. What's another need you think men need? It's true. Very true.
There's probably a lot of things, but the thing is, like, when you kind of put on
the spot, and I'll put you on the spot.
Like, that's it. What do men need from women? I think the main ones, literally just femininity, sex, that nourishment,
Yeah. I think that's true. Honestly, I think if you had that as a woman, most guys would be like, sign me up. Sign me up.
A lot of guys, actually, so let's say understanding.
Listening.
A lot of guys grew up without fathers or mothers, okay, and the next relationship they get into, they look for that in the woman.
Yes.
In a sense.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I do think that men and women both look for in a partner what the opposite sex parent provided for them.
It's true, but you're asking me specifically what men need from women.
Yeah, 100%. But what I'm saying is, like, for a boy, the person who gave him that feminine, nurturing nourishment, that was his mother. So if he looks for that in a woman, I don't think that's wrong.
No, that's not wrong at all, and this is going to come naturally, obviously. Men without a father, for example, that's more difficult, I think, because they will, and I've seen live examples, not myself, but just somewhere else.
Yeah.
When the guy didn't grow up with a father, and there was nobody to kind of teach him the manhood and the masculinity.
Very
you
true.
know, and then I'm the closest person to kind of step up. So I'm not able to teach any man manhood because I'm not a man.
I completely agree.
But then I would probably look for a person that I would think is suitable enough because of how he treats women, because of his age, for example, experience and stuff, and then direct the guy to the guy because, like, it actually does, you know, touch me when things like that happen, you know, because men a lot of times are not understood. They're not, you know, like men have feelings as well. So what I mean, there's certain things that you don't talk about where you don't need to sit a table in a cafe, you know, Starbucks, wherever, and chat to many guys just like girls do, for example, you know. Like you need that one person, or a lot of times men just deal with it on their own. Just lock yourself in the room and do whatever you need to do. If you need to go to the gym, you go to the gym, you work out at home, or kind of watch videos, wherever the heck you do.
It's true.
That's
Men
how you deal
process
with
it
it.
differently.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times what men actually need from a woman is understanding of those things.
Yeah, I think understanding the needs of your partner, because I think, you know, there are things as a woman I will never understand about being about. Like, I'll never understand certain things about being a woman. Just because I can't understand it doesn't mean I can't know what your needs are as a woman. You know, the feeling of security, safety, feeling you've been heard and listened to. Do you know what I mean? A level of emotional security. And just like, you know, like you said, maybe a woman doesn't understand that for a lot of guys, how they process their emotions might be on their own. And so a guy's like, oh, I need to take space. And she's like, but we can do it together. And he's like, nah, I need to take space. And if she just understands she doesn't have to understand why he's that way, but just understanding like the other person's needs, I think that's what's more important, just what they need, to be honest.
That's very important as well. But the thing is, like, I had the situation, for example, I was with a guy who was an introvert, and there was a lot going on. So I would kind of get to it myself because, as I said, I like reading people, I like analyzing people, I like, you know. So I would kind of get little, you know, size little red flags here and there. I would collect them and I would kind of talk to him about it. Okay, so why do you do what you do? And then if you have to do a certain situation or whatever, because he would tell me about his life and how he was brought up and stuff, you know. And he would say, oh, I need to be alone, leave the room, I don't want to talk to you. Absolutely fine. But then once he comes back, you know, I would have that conversation with him. And then he would be really surprised that I can actually deconstruct everything that he's feeling, put it on the table and make it clear. And this is something that actually most of my exes really appreciated about me, for example.
100%. Yeah, I think men do appreciate that for sure.
So I think, you know, maybe men don't think that way, and that is not like the first, like on the list of top 10, what they need from a woman. But if a woman is able to provide that, you know,
makes her a keeper. Makes her a keeper for sure. We were talking. Oh, I need to do my need. Oh, what do I think she needs? Okay. That's true. Okay, so I think she needs emotional security. I think that's very important for a woman in a relationship, to know that she is loved, that she is valued, in a way that she feels that she has his emotional investment.
Yeah.
And capacity. I think she needs to feel safe with him in the environment she is with him. You know, if we're talking about masculine femininity, you know, I think a woman needs to feel safe for that feminine to come out. And if that's the kind of woman he wants, he has to be able to make her feel safe and secure with him. And sex keeps coming to mind because women enjoy sex too. So I'm gonna say sex. I'm gonna say sex. The one thing I would say that men need that we missed out, that I think is actually probably should be top 3, is respect.
That's
a
one that
very big one.
See, it didn't even come to mind.
That's a very big one.
Yeah, love for women and men are two different things.
100%.
For a man, respect is love.
That's how a man feels love.
Exactly.
By respect.
By respect.
Yeah.
Whereas a woman's a completely different thing. Oh, why do you not pay attention to me?
Yeah.
That's it. But no, for a man, definitely respect. If you don't have respect.
Yeah, it's hard.
A lot of women don't understand that actually.
They really don't.
And even I had to learn this.
How did you?
You
What
see-
experience helped you learn this? How did that happen for you?
I don't want to bring this up
No
because
problem.
it's a personal story, but a lot of times, I got told, you don't respect me. Do you see what I mean?
That's the same as a guy being like, "You don't love me." When a guy says you don't respect me, it's him saying you don't love me.
That's it.
Yeah.
You don't respect me. And I couldn't understand what he was on about. Do you see what I mean? Because it's like respect for me is not, it has nothing to, well, yes, it is a part of love, obviously, but we're more focused on like commitment and like that attention, like all of that. But yeah, respect, 100%. Do you know, and he was very onto like being that masculine man and stuff, and you know, and then he would tell me, "You're not feminine."
Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? Because you messaged me about saying, you don't mind me sharing, getting the balance between the feminine and the masculine as a woman. Because if you want to attract a strong masculine man, confident man, then you understand that it's like, okay, you want to be in your feminine, but then you said you felt that you'd had situations where, well, I have these kind of conversations where you could talk with so much intelligence and clarity, and you feel like that's more coming from the masculine, and you feel that doesn't work for you, or it puts guys off, or
I mean, it depends. So I messaged you because I've obviously watched the video where you're talking about, you know, why do women attract that type of man? Okay.
yes.
So
Why do certain women attract men they call weak? That was the video, something like that.
that's it. Well, he's a weak man.
Well, they call him weak, but I say it's just a man who maybe sits more in his feminine.
Yeah, technically. So that happens to me often, and it's mainly because of, I guess, my energy, and I've got a lot of, so me as a woman, I would describe myself as very feminine with a very masculine brain. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of that, a lot of men don't like that. And we could talk about a lot of things here because this is such a broad topic that I can't just focus on one thing, because you have a lot of things that come into it, because you have men who, let's say, are of a certain religion and this is what they think and you should act a certain way and so on and so forth. And then you have men who, so live example, I would walk into, so I've got ADHD and I kind of know how to deal with it now that, well, it's been a long time. But it kind of kicks in sometimes, and I need somebody who is going to understand this. And it's not me trying to be masculine, I just get bursts of energy sometimes. You see what I mean? So we walk into a cafe and I'm on the guy's arm, technically. Do you see what I mean? So we walk into the cafe and he's kind of looking around because he doesn't know where to go exactly. So I'm like, I'm not yanking his arm or anything, but I'm like, look, there's a menu there, let's go there. So to him, that's not feminine because I'm showing him what the menu is. So that's kind of extreme. Like he would literally tell me that I'm not feminine to that point, like to that extent.
I see.
Yeah.
So in that example, it sounds, it's like, oh, you just saying, oh, there's a menu, let's go there, right? It's like, he shouldn't have a problem with that. I think that's minor, he shouldn't have a problem with that. But let me try and help you see it this way.
Exactly. Yes, do. Please do. Because he tried to explain it and I was kind of like, do you know what?
So if we're going from the point of, in the traditional sense, you know, or you want a man who can lead or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you have how you say something or how you get the point across is what makes the difference. So if you have a captain of like a platoon of soldiers, right? You have one who's a sniper, you've got the captain, you've got one who's a scout, etc., right? And let's say if they're on a mission, right? And they're trying to choose which terrain they want to take for wherever they're trying to go. Obviously, the scout knows what's best, right? Because that's his expertise. So the scout might go, okay, we've got this valley, but there's some enemy, you know, blind spots there. There's this one we could take, but there's some blind spots there. So I suggest this one because of this reason, right? Then the captain will be like, okay, he's taking that information and he'll choose, okay? That's him being the leader, even though the expertise and value came from someone else, right? It's very different if the scout goes, we're going to go this way because I know best. That's very different.
Okay.
So in that example in the coffee shop, right? And like I said, it shouldn't matter when you say, oh, there's a menu here, let's go here. There's a difference between you going, oh, I see there's a menu over there, should we go over there? And you going, oh, there's a menu here, let's go here. Because that sounds like you're giving him a command.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Does that make sense?
that makes sense, and I agree, and I see how he might have taken it, from what perspective. However, I don't think that you're being masculine just because you know what you want. You know how to act in certain situations. Another one, we go to a bank. He's trying to kind of deposit money or wherever. He always does it with his card at this like cash machine, wherever. But this time, all of that was closed. We had to go to the desk. And it's like, okay, I don't have my wherever with me. And I say, okay, you only need your ID. Let's do this, right? And so he's standing in line, and there's a lady is kind of calling in, over to do the thing. And then, he's kind of not paying attention. So I'm like, okay, let's go. She's calling you. And then he's like, oh, but I forgot this, and that. The lady's kind of like, oh, that's fine, whatever. And I said, it's okay, he can just use your ID, do it this way. And then he's already jaw clenching.
What, at who? You?
Me.
Why?
That's the thing. Why?
So what happened? Because you said that he only needs his ID?
Because I knew that you could do something a certain way, because I took initiative, because I don't like that's the thing. Like certain things like that I don't understand.
I mean, if you'll just say, if in that situation it's like you shouldn't get aggro because you're like, oh, you just need your ID, let's go in.
Yeah.
Same with the coffee shop example.
Yeah.
Right? Because those are quite minor. But if we're relating it to the whole kind of masculine, feminine, whose leadership, like I said, it's like there's a difference between giving a command and giving a suggestion.
Yeah, giving a command and giving a suggestion. But the thing is, like, what if I actually do know better in that situation? What if I actually do need to act in that situation? Because let's say we're short, we're gonna be late for, I don't know, a taxi or something. We're just some sort of situation like that. See what I mean? And then, okay, well, he's not thinking. He's taking long to do something. I know the fastest, the quickest way, and we literally strapped for time. Why can't I,
There's no reason why there's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you can't. And I like to think for most guys, like in those situations, you're like, oh great, like she really kind of took point in that and helped sort it out, right? Because you're a team at the end of the day. If we're going with the extreme case of you're with a very masculine man who feels like he has to lead and everything like that, right? Which sounds like that kind of guy that you were talking about.
Toxic masculinity.
I think it can be a level of entitlement, but I think in answer to your question, like what the issue is with that is they want to feel like they're making the decision. And if you feel that there's a situation, and this goes back to your streetwise, right? If you feel there's a situation that your leader can't lead the situation correctly, then it's kind of like if you've chosen him to follow, then there's an element of trusting his judgment. But if you don't trust his judgment, right, then maybe that's the wrong man for you to choose.
Okay, but the thing is...
And the last thing I'll say is the right kind of, in my opinion, a leader, a captain, knows the things he doesn't know. So in an area where he doesn't know, he's going to take cues from you because he's a good leader. A bad one just goes, even though I don't know, I'm going to make the decision. Like, that's just it's just incompetence, really.
Yeah, he'd rather ask other people, other men, instead of asking me, for example. You see what I mean? But where is the balance? Because
I think that's wrong. If that's the case, then that's wrong because, like, he should be able to ask you.
Yeah, that's it. See what I mean? And then it's kind of like you kind of feel the guy hurting his ego because he has to ask you about something because you know better.
Interesting. So do you, because Do you think that guys, your history with guys, right? That it sounds like you've been with guys who are very on the very masculine side, where it's almost a little bit fragile ego, masculine ego. But then I think when you message me, you're like, maybe you still attract guys who are more. It sounds like you attract across the spectrum, really. You've got all the choice. You've got all the choice.
So, what happens is. So
what happens, Vivi? What happens?
My days. So what happens is that after a long time of looking or not looking, because of the law of attraction, okay, the more you look, the less you're gonna find. So let's say it happens, and then the guy is masculine. It takes a masculine man for a woman to actually feel and act feminine. For a woman like me, let's just do that. Okay.
But maybe that's what's tripping you up. Because that kind of sounds like conditional femininity.
Conditional.
Yeah, you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm only going to be feminine for this kind of man.
No.
Oh, so what do you mean?
Hold on a second. It's not like that. They just bring it out more.
I understand that. They encourage that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
So let's say I will know straight away. I was 2-3 months ago, I was in Poland. I went to a random's wedding. Just random. Anyway, the guy that asked me to be a +1 for him. Guy. Said okay, because his cousin was there. And I never met the cousin, because obviously I just met the guy as well. But he said he's my best friend or wherever, so I got to know him as we were kind of talking and then getting like ready for the wedding and everything, right? So I never met his cousin, and I was very excited to kind of go there and see the people, because I'm just really extroverted, so I can walk into any setting and, you know, having fun. But we go. So he was that type of man. He's kind of more in his feminine and stuff, even though he was trying to, like, you know, give away that, oh yeah, such a wherever, you know, I'm this dude and everything. I could feel that he wasn't all that at all. And he was a year younger than me as well. And it's kind of like, but anyway, so we got to go to that wedding, and his cousin is older than him. Few years. So let's say 3 years or wherever. Okay, so what happens is I'm kind of with this guy, and I'm supposed to be his +1. I'm having fun, I'm talking to people and everything. He goes outside, so I'm looking for him. I go outside, his cousin is standing there, okay? And he's making a cigarette. And he looks at me, and I'm like, you know, where so-and-so went, you know, because I need to talk to him wherever. And obviously I'm having fun and there's music and everything, so I'm like all over the place, and my ADHD kicks in as well, you know, and it's all fun. And the guy is stoic, and he smokes a cigarette. He looks at me and he says, "You'll wait."
He says you'll wait.
You'll wait. You will wait.
Oh, you'll wait for him.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I was taken aback, okay, because we're having fun. Everyone's kind of in that extroverted mode, you know. It's not that it's a bit much, but I literally straight up looked in his face and I said, it takes a lot for me to respect a guy straight away. I had massive respect. Massive straight away. See what I mean? Because I know what I'm doing in that situation. I know how I'm handling myself. And because it's a party, people are drinking and everything, I'm like all over the place, and sad. He's obviously, I don't know what that +1 guy was doing. Maybe he was sorting something out or wherever, and I'm eager to find a guy. The minute he's kind of like this everything going on, his music, as I said, everything. He's stoic, he sits there, and that masculinity came out in that one sentence. It was kind of like,
oh, and you like that?
And I like that.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
I see.
Yeah.
See, other women could be like, why would I wait for you? Why should I?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So how did that make you towards him from that point?
I was attracted. Yeah. The guy wasn't single, so obviously, like, I knew that. I wouldn't, you know, try
There's no
anything.
potential there.
Yeah, but he was. Yeah. It made me feel like if I was with this guy, he's obviously not liked 100% of the time because, even men like him can joke about and stuff as well,
Yeah.
But I was feeling like, okay, well, this would be really interesting.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Yeah. Because I like that. I don't know. This is maybe toxic for me, but I like power tripping men.
How do you mean?
Just a little bit. I don't know. How do you explain that?
As in, like, what, they are on a power trip, or
Not towards me, but just like in general, like that.
just like powerful men?
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful men are attractive, of course. Of course, guys who can have influence. Yeah, have influence. Okay, I want to ask you something. Why do you think it's harder to find commitment today from men?
Way harder to find commitment. Maybe because of there's a lot of reasons. Technically, how the world is operating at the moment as well. A lot of people being more open towards open relationships and kind of understanding the hookup scene and, all that, because it's so massively available, not a lot of people, pay attention to settling and stuff. Then you have what we spoke about, which is why players, why the men cheat, for example, so like writing and
I think timing is very important.
the timing is important too. So we spoke about age as well, right?
Yeah. And like, what life stage are they at?
Exactly.
Because if he's looking to settle down and start a family, start a legacy, then yeah, he's definitely going to be looking to take someone seriously.
But it's really weird because there's a lot of men who I got approached twice today on the street as I was on the way to you. And
sorry about it.
Doesn't mean that I engaged. So I just see what type of men approach me, right?
Okay.
So that's really different because one of them, probably because of the way I dressed, would say, oh, she's probably like a TikToker or something like that. He was a young guy, he was probably 17 or wherever, he just came up and was like, can I have your Snapchat on TikTok, right? That's one thing. But then
I just thought you were attractive.
Perhaps. And then you have a guy who's in his 30s, let's say, is dressed very smart casual, came up to me, said he's French, he wanted to ask for my number and stuff, said that I looked so and so, and
did you give it to him?
She gave it to him,
guys. She gave it to him. She gave it to him.
No, I actually hesitated. Because it needs to be that.
So what made you give it? I'm guessing you didn't give your details to the first one.
Obviously.
So what made you give it to the second one?
You see that difference in age and in class and in just
okay.
Just
and how, for our female viewers, how did he approach you? Where were you and how did he do it?
I was just walking outside. I was actually looking for hairdressers. He's a good hairdressers around here. Anyway, so I'm looking for hairdressers. I'm running around and everything, and it just happened to be walking down the street. I mean, I'm talking about it, second one.
Yeah.
And it just approached me. He just said I wanted to say something and gave me a compliment, and then just started talking about himself and stuff, and asked me for contact details or whatever. So this is how that happened. The other one, I was just kind of sitting on the bench, just doing something on my phone.
Yeah.
So there's that difference.
Yeah.
How is he?
Well, I guess the guy who's older, it makes more sense because on first impression, this seems at least more put together, more established. He's wearing something that I assume you found quite classy, like kind of nice. So he's also probably got a good style. If he has the confidence come up to you in person, which is so rare nowadays, that says something already. But if he's older, then yeah, he's more likely to look for something more serious.
Yeah.
If that's what you want.
No.
You don't something like that. Sorry, French guy. Sorry, Frenchie. She's out. She doesn't want it.
I'm actually out. Just because I gave you my number doesn't mean I'm gonna talk to you.
Well, why would you give him your number then?
Out of interest. I just wanted to see.
What do you mean?
So it wasn't the number, it was technically the Instagram. So sometimes I'll give somebody my Instagram details. I'll just
So they
see what
can
they do.
boost that follow
da,
count.
like, you know, let's see.
Okay, would there have been anything you saw on his profile that would make you go, oh, actually, maybe I should give him a chance? Lies. You're lying. Really? If you're sure he had like maybe he was like a very established, like awarded, like director of a company or something. That wouldn't make him more attractive to you.
So what?
Maybe we can give you a
Look,
chance.
it is okay. No, look, because you're gonna say that wine. Maybe it is attractive.
Maybe it isn't.
Because
but I'm
we
there
were
from what you
talking
told me.
about ambition. We
Yeah.
were talking about ambition.
He's already got it together.
Yeah, he's already got it together and everything. Okay, and he's not bad looking, and you know he might be nice in the way he approached me and everything. And you read the energies, as I said, the way you carry yourself and everything. So just because he was dressed nice, and just because he approached me in a certain way, and just because he managed to get my Instagram account, doesn't mean that I vibe with the guy.
That's true, but I guess you've just met him. Like you have to go on a date to see if you can vibe with him.
You know, every interaction is a transaction. Okay, so I interact with somebody, I can feel the energy and everything. That's enough. And then if I go on the profile and then see wherever I need to see,
What did you see on his profile?
just to be stuff, pictures.
Yeah, like what? It's got a wife and kids.
No, but
You're like, oh, that
that's-
makes me want him even more.
no, that's straight up no. No, my friend kind of was having a laugh with me yesterday. He said that I was asking him, should I go with a guy who's already got a kid? And he said, go with a guy who's already got a wife and kid. You've got the full package. You see what I mean? That was kind of like, alright, let's do it. You know?
I love that.
No, but
I love that. That's
yeah.
funny.
So the guy was just a no. That's it. Like, what else do you need me to?
But why?
Because I just don't vibe with that. I'm not exactly 100% attracted.
Do you have a type?
I've got a few types.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like?
I like Mediterraneans.
Okay.
I
Why? Like cultural? Got amazing food.
They've got.
No?
I mean,
I think they do.
I mean, okay, Italians, yeah, but I'm not into Italians. I'm talking Mediterranean. Why do I say Mediterraneans? Okay, so I usually go for kind of like Moroccans, Algerians, that type of guys.
Sure.
Then you've got Jamaicans,
Mm.
like Arabs, but it really depends. See what I mean?
Okay, so maybe it just wasn't your type. Just wasn't your type.
Yeah.
So you said you're not really open to dating right now.
I am and I'm not. Okay, because we've running a business and kind of networking, being all over and like working 24/7, you know, it's kind of just a headache and I don't have time. I went on an app not long ago, okay.
How was it?
Immediately, just hundreds of people just liking the profile trying to chat, and then kind of like, because I'm so overwhelmed, and it's not just me, because people in the comments will be like, oh, she thinks she's all that. No, a lot of girls, a lot of girls get a lot of guys to chat to them.
Of course. A lot of
It's not
attractive
just
girls
me.
get hundreds if not
Exactly.
thousands of matches. Yeah,
And
makes sense.
there is girls out there who are so beautiful, they get even more than I do, okay? 100%. So just to, yeah, because a lot of people had an issue with that actually recently. But anyway, let's go back to the point. So immediately, obviously, loads of messages, right?
That must felt nice though. Be like, oh wow, so many people are interested in me.
And after that, because I kind of got out of a relationship a year ago, you know, so that was kind of refreshing. And
Yeah,
it was
of
kind
course.
of like, I can do that. So yeah, so I've got loads of attention and everything, but then, yeah, I think it depends on, like, first of all, the app, second of all, the age gap, third of all, like, different type of things, and like the type of pictures that you post and the type of pictures that other people post. You can kind of tell what type of people you're going to talk to. And a lot of these guys were actually, a lot of the guys that liked my profile were actually inmates. Which is crazy.
That's
And
interesting.
I could not believe this. And I was kind of like, okay, well,
Would you ever date a criminal?
no.
Never.
We were talking about like the street knowledge and everything. Now, not
Yo,
on
that
that
street
level.
knowledge through the roof. Through the roof.
Not on that level. Okay, let's not get into criminal records. Okay, but yeah. So me thinking, okay, well, I'm banging that, which is like my past experiences and men who are very toxic in the masculinity and stuff, okay, and like very successful, got the shit together and everything.
So it's about the toxic masculinity. What? Because you just associated like some very successful guys, but they have toxic masculinity. So what kind would then? What are you talking about in regards to that? Now, what do they have?
Like the example with the cafe, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, things like that.
It's like taking respect to the extreme.
Hell yeah, still taking respect to the extreme, and but that doesn't mean that men who are less successful do not give off toxic masculinity.
I hear that.
Okay, because it doesn't matter what. Like a man, when he goes into that's at least I am kind of quoting Steve Harvey. Love the guy, absolutely love Steve Harvey. So he said like the man when he goes into the world, he's judged by other men, and what he's judged by is who he is, how much he makes, and what does he do. Things like that. But
And the woman he's with.
and the woman he's with, for
Very true.
example. But that will depend on what he does and he is and how much makes as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So my point, then you don't have to be extremely successful. You could just be a guy. Let's say you're working at Tesco's and you're looking for marriage. So you go on an app where you're looking for a woman to marry, okay? But then I know that works usually, yeah, exactly. But then, yeah, so you're looking for that, and that type of guy, let's say, he would look for somebody who's, let's say he's toxic in his masculinity. He's looking for a woman who's just going to be very agreeable, somebody who's going to stay at home, listen to him, you can have you can be intelligent and stuff, but not too intelligent because then you're going to argue or want to kind of, and I actually dealt with somebody like that. So, I mean, and then, yeah, so that...
I think there are women like that out there, though. I think it's very, I think that's a very specific kind of woman. And I think they're a very, very small minority just because, so I went to boarding school and I went to like one of the poshest schools in the country, right? And I grew up in a rough area. So I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb, but I was surrounded by a lot of very wealthy kids from wealthy families. And a lot of their parents, that was the system they had. Like the man was incredibly successful, incredibly wealthy. She didn't work a day in her life, and she was very much the stay-at-home wife and agreeable. And not that they weren't intelligent, they were intelligent, but like they very much, in maybe the most drastic case, very much submitted to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I think it's kind of like, how you kind of said about how, being with a masculine man encourages that feminine to come out of you. I feel like the more a man has maybe acquired and the more successful he's become, right, I can provide something that not many men can, the more likely a woman is going to do that for him and be that for him. Because those same, like, wives that I'm talking about, right, they wouldn't be that for just the average guy. Does that make sense? So, each to their own, whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? You go, okay, that's what you want. That's not for me. But it's kind of like, I think for a small percentage of women, maybe a larger percent, for the right guy, they would do that for.
Yeah, there are women like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know women like that, and they love their roles, and they love to be that for the man.
Yeah.
100%. But there are women who are kind of combined, as I said. They can be very feminine, but then they can have really masculine brains. And they definitely need a man who's similar combination, because otherwise it just clash.
I agree. I agree.
And that's why it's so difficult to find out. But we were onto something.
Go
on. Jack can't roll, so you have to.
Oh, so sorry. I cut you off. Well, you're talking about, I asked you about toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And about associated with these very successful men.
Yeah, true. So their toxic masculinity doesn't mean that only successful men, obviously, as I explained earlier. It can be toxic, but their toxic masculinity kind of I think it comes from the place of ego as well, you know, because there were usually men who kind of love like the 60s. Right? They want to be that man. I don't know if you've watched Mad Men.
Oh yeah. Where
Don
like,
Draper.
yeah, Don Draper. Yeah.
Exactly. So I had
Like, how many women would love to be with Don Draper? A lot of women would. Well, there you go.
yes,
But would you not say by today's standards, he's a toxic, successful man?
he is a toxic successful
But
man.
you want to be with him?
But wait, because how can you make a toxic successful man 100% committed?
I think it's incredibly difficult, especially today. Here's the thing, like, there's something called the weakness of strength, right? And that the kind of guy that, let's say, he was incredibly successful, has his own business, whatever, he's likely also plans everything, but likes to be in control. And he might not be as flexible as maybe some women would like. But that's what comes with the territory when you deal with that kind of man. Does that make sense? Equally, because you could deal with a man who's super flexible, but you'd be like, he doesn't have his shit together. Do you know what I mean? So I think don't get me wrong, there are some toxic traits and toxic, people do toxic behaviors. But I think we have to understand that, is this a toxic behavior, or is this just something that comes with the territory that doesn't work for me? Like, am I willing to accept this? Because it's kind of like you said, like, if you want to be with an incredibly successful man.
That was exactly my issue. I either have to accept it or let it go.
Okay. Because now you've had more experience in maybe men on the spectrum, would you say that's adjusted your standards for what you're looking for? Or are you still kind of like, nah, I'm going to find the guy who's got the perfect balance of exactly everything I want?
See, the perfect balance would be perfect. But yeah, where is the balance? Either guys who can't take, he can't lead, or the leaders who are toxic. Where is the balance, But I think, the man is, okay, so he comes from a toxic trait, but he is on the level, so he's after exactly what I'm after. See what I mean? Like, he just works, like the ambition works, and the knowledge works, and the values, and kind of spiritually as well, all of that. So if that works, but then he comes with that toxicity, let's say, am I able to accept that?
Yeah, because what I was going to say, is it possible that the thing that you call toxic in him is actually the very thing that enabled him to get to the position that you very much admire? So, like, uncompromising, likes to be in control, likes to make the decisions, demands respect.
You're smart.
It's just a
Wait, no, you're actually quite intelligent. Because I am kind of a proud person, because I tend to see things from a lot of different perspectives. It's like a situation in a Rubik's Cube that you can kind of turn around. You see what I mean? But I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen what one?
That perspective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So this is actually very, very intelligent way of looking.
Maybe. That's what I was saying. Like, I think it's, we all say we want certain traits, we want certain things in a partner, but then I think we forget the other side of that coin. So, like, for example, like you said you had ADHD. That didn't surprise me. And the reason it didn't surprise me is because people who tend to have a high IQ, that tends to be the other side of the coin, right? Something like that. So it's kind of like, I think we forget that there's two sides to every quality, and that the very thing that you may find very attractive, that's a strength, under different circumstances, you can see it's a weakness for whatever reason. And that's why I asked the question, because it's like, is it toxic, or is it something that just comes with the trait that you like?
Okay, well, toxicity. Okay, so not fair enough, because I dealt with it for 3 years straight.
Right.
So because I dealt with it for 3 years straight, means that I am able to accept it to a certain point. Do you see what I mean? So that toxicity and stuff built me as well as a person. because I adapt quickly. I'm very all about agility, and so to be in a corporate world, you need to be an asshole.
Of course.
And because I was always chasing, maybe not the corporate, maybe to a certain extent, maybe because of certain companies or like wherever I'm doing business wise, that actually built a lot of confidence, I gathered a lot of knowledge because of his, toxicity in that way. So this is like, that's why I was able to accept it. But the thing is, sometimes toxic masculinity comes with abuse.
Yeah, that's
emotional abuse.
Yeah, of course.
So, when emotional abuse kind of walks into the relationship, this is when you kind of quits. So, I mean, like, you try to work on problems, you try to work on issues, and then a lot of the childhood trauma, for example, from his side would come in, and the more you understand it, the more he shows it, and then it really depends on the person. I'm not saying every guy is like that. I'm just saying that that's what was happening with him. So because it was happening and I couldn't stop it, the more I tried, the more he was showing it. Technically called it quits. But yes, turns out I can't accept a powerful man with toxic masculinity.
So here's what: would you rather a guy you see as very high value, right? But he is, in terms of his quality of personality, is average. Not good, it's not bad, it's just average. Or other way around, a guy who in terms of personality, you find is absolutely top notch, right? But he's just not on the level that is like your standard for you.
That's difficult.
If you had to pick one.
That's difficult. Because
no one's perfect.
No one's perfect. And you always find the two. There's loads of men like that. And there's men who are high value, very successful, extremely successful, millionaires even. There's loads of them, and there's loads of men who are very, quirky, other personalities, amazing, and the values are amazing. They have amazing families, and I just love the culture, and I just love everything about them. But then something's stopping them from wanting to be successful because, for example, I met guys who are all of that, but they don't feel the need of being where I want to be. So
their priorities are different.
Exactly, priorities are different.
So which one would you choose?
Yeah, they just want to live a simple life, and I'm all just...
Which one would you choose? I'm going to make you answer this question.
No, you're not going to make me choose. I can have both.
You think you have both?
I don't know.
Might be a compromise you have to make at some point.
Okay, so hello days, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so right, so the successful man. No, hold on, I didn't answer the question. So the successful man, you don't have to teach him much about, money, how to make a living, all of that, right? But the thing is, his personality sucks.
I didn't say sucks. I said it's average.
It's average. Okay, let's say it's average. The question is why?
Because obviously he has priorities in getting to a high level than to developing his self-character.
That's not always true, because there are guys who have got personalities and they're well developed, but they still decided to be successful, and they are successful. Okay.
Yeah, but I guess more in the sense that the kind of character that maybe appeases to you.
Let me just finish this. So he's average character-wise.
I agree, and I'm. That's the question.
Okay, so what I could do possibly is choose the guy and then show him some of the life experiences that I've had or I would want him to have as we travel the world and stuff, so that he kind of develops the character that I would want him to have.
Why can't you just accept him?
But the thing is, you shouldn't change a man. You should just love him for who he is, right? So I think, that's so difficult. Then you have the guy who's technically real good personality, like big, lick, and then but he's not all about that money life at all. Okay.
No, that's probably why he's got an amazing personality.
But yes, that too. I'm not
Because he's not
talking,
like so like.
yeah, I'm not talking about just chasing money. I'm just talking about different things. Like he could be, I'm all about like charities and the creating different things and like, with that. So it's not just like, oh yeah, corporate world, I'm a rat. No, absolutely not that. It's just, but his mindset is not there, let's say, right? If I got with the guy, obviously it's amazing because his personality and everything is amazing, and the things that you experience, it just hits. So I mean, but then because I'm ambitious and I'm already doing what I'm doing, if his personality is amazing and we vibe, who says that he wouldn't kind of follow my footsteps?
Would you accept him regardless of really whether he chooses to follow your ambition steps or not?
Well,
Because it sounds like in each situation you're like, okay, well I'll choose them, but I'll work on the other thing. The guy is great, the personality but ambitious. He can get ambitious through me, or the other one, I can improve his character through me as well. But I'm like, if you had to accept one and you can't change them, and I'm not saying you can't, because look, people are constantly evolving all the time, right? So I'm not saying people don't grow and learn, but I'm saying if you had to accept one without the possibility of them changing, because it's not guaranteed that they will grow in that areas you value.
Let's do my, as I said, feminine person, masculine mind. I would choose the guy with the character. Let him be, because if I want something, nobody's stopping me from doing it, right?
I think you'd be more happy with him.
Yeah.
I think most people would.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I get the high level is attractive, obviously. I'm the last person to deny that. But I think we can focus so much on that we don't realize, like, at the end of the day, I've had like a big transition in my life recently. I lost my father recently, and I realized how much family and connection is important. Like, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to say being successful isn't important, especially as a man. I'm going to say it is. But I think wealth in life long term is the connections that you have. I'll be honest. Like, who's going to be at your funeral? What are people going to say about you? Obviously, I'm biased because I've just gone through that. But like you said, seeing the other side of the Rubik's Cube, I feel like I already knew that side, but I feel like I've really seen it now. I think it's because with a high value guy, like, the money comes and goes. It comes and goes.
True, and with that as well, if obviously the guy's personality is everything that you want in a guy, and it's just like amazing. He's got his own views on the world and what he wants to do and stuff, and probably doesn't want to chase certain things that I want to chase. Nobody says that, I'm not talking about changing the guy or changing anything as we spoke about.
Yeah.
But I just said, nobody says that just because he doesn't have the amount of money that I want to make in, let's say, 5 years' time,
But you can make that for yourself.
That doesn't make him less of a man.
No.
That doesn't make him less successful, because what is success measured by? Come on.
I think success is not trading your time for money. So like, having a career and a job, okay? Like, how do you know whether you have a career and a job is if you won the lottery tomorrow, we're still going to work on Monday. If the answer is no, then you have a job, not a career, in my opinion. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy your job, but it's like people want financial abundance, but I think they forget why. And I think the reason we want financial abundance is so we can have the freedom to be who we want to be. So we can have the freedom to choose to do things we want to do. Does that make sense? So in terms of what is success, I would say when you don't have to trade your time for money. So you don't have to go into that job that you really don't want to go into, but you go because it does pay you very well. Like, you can have financial success, but then it's like, if you're not really content or you're not really happy, even more so, you're unhappy doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is somebody who's really unhappy but earning millions, are they successful in life? I don't know.
Okay, so you're talking about jobs and money. I agree. But you could be not working and you're not trading your time for money, and you could be financially free and you're not trading your time for money.
True, you could go live in the Amazon rainforest and be completely happy.
That's it. So if that's success to you, then even the guy without millions who's got amazing personality is successful. In a sense. Anyway, we
Yeah.
would
No,
have to
no,
agree it's not.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. I like it. I think there's a difference in seeing success by society and then success in life for you. I'd
Yeah,
say.
so exactly. So what is success measured by? Obviously that it really depends. It depends on your culture, religion, everything as
Yeah.
well. But you know, if you have got, I think if you have got enough to have the roof above your head, food on the table, water in your tap, the
You're doing
people
pretty well. Yeah.
that you love, you know, family, people who can support you. If something happens, 3 in the morning, you call somebody, they actually pick up. I think you're damn successful. Okay.
Yeah. You got a lot to be
So
grateful for.
yeah. So I think I'm a successful person, even though, you know, financially I'm still trying to get there because I am building something. I'm in the middle of like kind of working on projects and stuff. I think I'm really, really successful when it comes to other aspects of life.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm out there, I've got family, I've got friends, I've got amazing people that I network with.
Yeah.
And I think the ability of always having an option is success.
Yes. Having the freedom to choose. 100%.
Freedom to choose or just an option out of a situation.
Yes.
Any situation.
Very true. Very true.
Success.
We're going to wrap up soon. What's one last thing you'd like to ask or talk about?
Oh, being friends with a lot of men.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
What do you think about that?
If a girl's friends with lots of guys?
Yeah.
Depends. Okay. So 2 things come to mind. One, I think, what kind of guys is she friends with?
Okay.
Right? Because I think that is telling for different things. The second thing that comes to mind is, does she know that probably most of them want to sleep with her?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And is she friends with them because she actually sees them as friends, or is she friends with them because they provide a lot of time and attention that she enjoys? Those are things that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you ask that?
No, I just wanted to know, because you're supposed to be the dating coach. Okay, so what do you think of females who are friends with a lot of men, and is that...
I think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's what I'd say. Okay, like, but what kind of guys are you friends with?
Yeah, so if I can just add to that, it's technically all about the fact that a lot of guys would ask me, for example, are you friends with a lot of men? And sometimes it's a massive issue and they completely just utterly, you know, disregard the whole thing that we were talking about and like, right. And then they don't understand. So, okay, so I know that a lot of guys, if not all, then a lot, 99.9%, want to be friends with you because they want something from you.
Yeah, the potential of something more.
Exactly. The
100%.
potential of something more, whether it's sex or a relationship or just like, you know, so more than friends, as we say. So I understand that concept. But the thing is, let's say I grew up with my brother, his friends, my cousins. You see what I mean? So I was surrounded by men ever since and that was in Poland as well. So here, it's a little bit more difficult because we are so different. There's so many cultures around here, like in London, Brighton, you know, everywhere technically, across the UK, that a lot of people come with their kind of own values from our own countries. But in Poland, for example, one of our best friends, we went to primary school together. You see, my mom knows his mom. We're friends, but kind of like family, just what I mean. We grew up together. We were never in a relationship. There was never nothing. We were always friends. He's now married. I know his wife. I go over sometimes. His wife leaves to work, and there's not even a thought that something could happen. So I mean, friends. So I believe that this is possible. Is it because we grew up together, or is it because he genuinely knows the concept of friends, wife, relationships? So what I mean? So a lot of guys don't understand that you can have guys who...
I think you
tell
can.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me.
You can have a male and female friendship, obviously, but there are a lot of friendships, as you said, where the guy is friends with her for the potential of something more.
Yeah.
Which is why, and guys know that.
Mhm.
which is why a guy might be like, he may have an issue with you having a lot of male friends, because he's like 90% of them want to sleep with you.
Yeah.
So it's like, he doesn't want you to be hanging out with guys who want to sleep with you and that you're being friendly with.
Of course.
Now, of course, just because a guy wants to sleep with you doesn't mean that you're going to sleep with him.
Yeah.
But I do think that, male and female friendship, I think genuine friendship is when neither of you would sleep with each other.
Mhm.
And because most guys would sleep with anything, and especially if you're an attractive girl, like, I think, not that it's not a real friendship, but it's not just friendship. It's not just friendship.
Mhm.
Like, my rule that I say for guys, never be friends with a girl that you find attractive. Because if you find her attractive, you want to sleep with her.
Yeah.
And if you're friends with her, then you like who she is, so
Yeah.
you're going to want more.
Yeah.
So, like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
For women, I understand it's different. But that's why.
It is different for us. Yeah, I can find a guy extremely attractive and just be friends.
And still not want to sleep with them, yeah.
Anything from them. Just
Yeah, 100%.
wouldn't touch the guy. But as I said, there are friends like that. So, somebody who's already married and stuff, but the same age, he's already married. It's just loves the girl.
Yeah, it's good. I do have to wrap up.
That's
We do have
cool.
to
That's
wrap
cool.
up.
That's cool.
Where can we find you online? Tell us. If you want to give your Insta socials or not.
How heavy?
Bad girl Vivi online.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this Sunday. Right, giving us your energy and time. Always enjoy the conversations. And yeah, we'll get you one at some point again. If you're up for coming on, we'll get you one. But guys, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Pow.